Well, good afternoon, and I'm glad that everybody has been able to join in. We are sorry. My team here at Chicago Public Schools Parent University, Family and Community Engagement, this is face to face, and we are using a new platform today. It's called StreamYard, and this is the first time we've been able to use it. But you work out the glitches in this virtual space. It's been kind of rough. We learn, hey, our students are doing remote learning. And of course, they got glitches in the classroom and glitches on technology, glitches with Chromebooks. Today, the chief of this department had a glitch, okay? But we are really happy that we finally got on. Sorry for the delay. We hate starting late. We are tardy, so we did go to the office and get a pass. This is face-to-face here. And I am really happy to bring to you one of our guests today. Really exciting individual. Doing a lot of great things. Larry Roberts has become a household name. And I should say Larry Roberts Jr. because there's another Larry Roberts. And Larry Roberts, both of them are dear friends of mine, the daddy and the son. But Larry Roberts has become a household name in the city of Chicago and surrounding suburban communities. With 4 locations, Larry Roberts Barber College has not only transformed the hair industry, but has also transformed the lives of so many young people who seek to live a better life. Starting his business at only age 18, Larry Roberts has grown his vision from the basement of his parents' home to an ever-growing empire to teach not only hair design, but entrepreneurship and self-value. Mr. Roberts is also an accomplished musician and author, and we are happy to talk to him today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Larry Roberts to the dorm room today. Larry, good afternoon. We finally got you on.
Chip, what's up? I know, man. Hey, we got that pass in order.
Oh my God, it was something else. And I know we got people streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. So if they want to just reach out to you that way, they can. So you all make sure you all reach out. So Larry, you've been doing some great things. You started Larry's Barber College, but you also are a musician. You're an author. We're going to get into all of that. But I want to just talk to you first because this is very important to our community. You started a Barber College in the basement of your home. You got a large following, and they stayed following you, and they follow you to this day. But it not only just became a barbershop, it became a community organization. And I think that you have many followers here that can attest to the fact that not only do they come to get transformed on their head, but they come to you to be transformed in their minds as well. And I think God has blessed you to really grow your empire. You got 4 locations. Tell me, what made you start this? How did you really start in the basement of your parents' home? And then what took you to the evolution of Larry's Barber College enterprise?
Well, you want to know the truth of it, Chip?
I do.
Your friend Larry Roberts Sr. had this lame brain idea, as I call it, to build a house out in the south suburbs of Matson, Illinois. And there weren't anybody that looked like me out there to cut my hair. So I went to Walgreens and bought a pair of clippers for $19.99. And I started in the bathroom first. And I was cutting my hair in the bathroom, holding the mirror, looking in the back mirror. My mother came downstairs. Fox, as you know her, came downstairs and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm cutting my hair." She said, "Not in my bathroom, you not." And I had to go down in the basement, and I'm sitting up trying to cut my hair with a mirror, with no mirror behind me, and trying to see the back. And I asked him, I was down there crying. My father said, "Fox, let him go upstairs and cut his hair in the bathroom. He'll clean up." And that's where it all started. Then I put my shop in the basement, man. And that was when I was 13 years old, and it started from there.
Wow. Well, I got to give a shout out to your dad because, of course, he's about as old as me, maybe a few years older than me.
Yeah.
But of course, he just like I did, grew up playing in the church, and of course, he went on to pen different songs that a lot of our African American churches and Caucasian churches sing today.
Yes,
really made a difference in gospel music. But you said that you started it, but how did it evolve into where you saw that not only did you want to cut hair, but you wanted to transform lives? How did that come about?
Well, to be honest with you, I always I lovingly say that my dad is my hero, right? So basically, my dad, my dad had me working in his restaurants when I was, a teenager. I was barbecuing ribs at 12 years old, in a big barbecue pit. Then, it eventually evolved into me, going over to the restaurant at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, man, to make homemade hot links and homemade barbecue sauce and light the pit and light the steam table and change the grease on the fryers and all of that kind of stuff, man. So running my dad's restaurants, working 30, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. And he just really kind of put that sweat equity, in me when I was young, man. So I've always been the type of person that, I don't allow like anything. Like if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna be the very best at it, man. So I know how to draw. So you'll learn that cutting hair is an art and it's a science. So because I know how to draw, and I was just very particular about the way I cut my hair. So the way I got clients was I told them, I said, hey, man, you let me cut your hair. If I mess up, I'll pay you $3. But if I, do a good job, you got to pay me $3. So, nevertheless, I end up doing a good job. I never had to pay anybody that $3. And I eventually went up to $5. And then it got so inundated until I had to have one of my other buddies, Mike, from Yesterday's Jazz. He started cutting hair in my basement with me. So it was 2 of us in my basement cutting hair, man. We had the whole South suburbs. We had it sold up. So that's how I ended up getting into cutting hair like I did when I did. I went to barber school at 17 and opened up my first barbershop at 19. I told my parents, this is what I want to do. So I had a half a day when I was a senior. I would leave school every day and I would go to barber school for the evening time. And that's how I ended up getting into this profession.
So what I really like about it is that you just not only look at the craft as an art form, but you look at it as something that has theory behind it. And as I was looking through your website, I see that you have units of instruction that you have actually crafted. And I know you might have done this with your team and everything, but that's one of the things that I really appreciate about the art of hair design is that you took it not only just from the chair, but you made it a theoretical, actually a subject matter. You provided content to it. You made it more theoretical. Because I see you have the theory of barbering, the profile of a master educator. You go into the practice of barbering, the methods of teaching, the teaching in a dynamic clinic. I mean, all of these things that, we would necessarily not think about. So made you go down that route.
So if I can share this with you, so you probably don't know what the red, white, and blue barber pole stand for, right? So the red, white, and blue barber pole, the blue is for veins, the red is for blood, the white is for bandages, and the ball on the bottom is called a bassin. So we were doctors and dentists back in the day. It wasn't until later on in the 1800s when they separated the professions and you had a dentist, a doctor, and our professional barber name is a tonsuro artist. So what we do is very, very important, man. But I think that our postures inside of the barbershops and the beauty shops right now pretty much give people the option to say, that's not a real job when we're a $300 billion industry and we are economy proof. You know what I'm saying? So actually, what we do is very, very important, man. So, one of the things that I thrive on is just doing my best at showing people how important we are. That's why I always say, and I say this every time I speak, that we have to be careful that we don't allow our gift to take us someplace that our character can't handle. And I say that all the time. And also you have to go through in order to get to, but how you deal with what you go through determines how you come out. Reason being is because it's like a lot of people, like I used to start at 4 o'clock in the morning, Chip. I cut at 4 o'clock in the morning, man, from sun up before the sun came up until the sun went down, man. And basically I used to cut between 25 and 38 heads every day. The most heads I ever cut in one day was 48 heads. But you can't teach people that. It has to be in you. I love cutting hair. I got the ethics, from my dad as it relates to working and stuff like that, man. And I feel like I'm just here to help show the people the importance of who we are, what we do, why we do it. And, you will never not need the hair care industry. You know what I'm saying? So, man, like we got a lot of great stuff going on in this industry.
So how did you approach it, though, to put the theory behind it?
So basically, the theory was designed from way back when they started barbering. So you have anatomy and physiology. You have to learn about electricity and light therapy. We have to learn about the brain, the cranium, the temporal area, the occipital. We have to learn about HIV, hepatitis, malaria. All of these things are a product of if you don't, so when they was trying to say we were non-essential, we are essential. We have to learn about infection control. COVID is not, that's not old. I mean, it's not new. That's old. We have to learn about sanitation and disinfection. So we are licensed by the Illinois Department of Professional Regulation, same place where funeral directors are licensed by, CPAs, doctors, dentists. We're licensed by the same people. And believe it or not, if you're inside of a shop cutting or doing hair without a license, you can get arrested. It's considered a misdemeanor. That's how important what we do is. And we can be responsible for somebody's death sitting in our chair because of the fact that if something goes wrong as far as infections or sanitation or color going wrong or relaxer going wrong, or you're passing disease from one person to another, you can be responsible for somebody's death. So what we do is very, very important. And I'm here to help share that information and shed that light, and really train. It's more than a barber. One of my administration was talking about that earlier. It's more than just being a barber. The reason I developed Data Foundation is in order to do mentorship, life skills, mental health, substance abuse. We service the senior citizens, we service the veterans, and we do all of these things as a way to show that, hey, we are more than just a barber. And again, I've been cutting hair for 34 years. So there's no way somebody in the 12, 13, 14 months that they're with me, they can't get all of their information in that one sitting. So that's why they have to focus on the succeeding part of it and not necessarily the skills of being a good barber. Because if your gift and your character don't add up, you can be a great barber, but late every day. You can be a great barber, but no uniform on. You can be a great barber, but your music is horrible to the ears of people that come in. You can be a great barber, but you don't say, yes, ma'am. Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. How are you? And all of these ethics that come along with being a professional. And we are professionals.
So how did this evolve? Let's see, when you were in your first shop was in Matteson, right?
Yep, I had the first black barber shop in Matteson, Illinois.
I used to work in Matteson, so I know better. The people out in Matteson say it's Matteson.
Right.
So let me pronounce it the right way, Matteson.
Right.
Your vision grew from there. What made you want to grow and evolve into what you're doing now?
Well, because of the fact that I seen that, so my mission when I first started my barber school was educating a new generation of barbers. And what made me go as far as I went right now is just the fact that, people don't take what we do serious, right? And when I was 18, 19 years old, Chip, I was making $1,500 to $2,000 a week when haircuts were only $10. Now I know guys, you can't sit in a chair for less than $45. Some guys, you know what I'm saying? So you literally can make $400 or $500 a day, if not more, and make six figures in a year if you do it right. And I was talking earlier about, but you have to give money instruction. Money has to have instruction. So if you don't know what it takes in order to have that money, then you're pretty much doomed and set for a disaster. So, but I had to learn the hard way. I took my money in and I would change the rims on my truck. Like, I had a Blazer when I was 18. So I changed the rims like they was underwear on my truck, and I would lift it up and let it down to the ground and put sounds in there, take the sounds out, put an Alpine pull out in there, take the Alpine pull out. I didn't know what to do with the money, get my tailor-made suits, get my game shoes, all of these things, man. I didn't know what to do with the money. So I feel like I had to go through something in order to get to where I am right now, in order to be able to be more appreciative of it. Because had I had it in my early 20s, I probably would have lost it and then been here trying to figure out how to get it back.
Well, I mean, I see how the blessings come because I know the car you drive now. So.
Oh, that ain't nothing but a little duster.
But look, you saw this though as an opportunity to really feed into young people's lives, especially our young African American men. And you started a program. I want you to talk about the program that you started at the Illinois Department of Corrections, because it's really taken flight, and a lot of people have really just their lives are being transformed while they're doing time behind bars, so to speak. So tell us about that, the Department of Corrections program you have.
Yeah. So what made me want to do that is, a lot of people, especially in church. So you come up in church, Chip, and a lot of people, are inside the four walls basically and talking about woulda, shoulda, coulda, and, talking about how bad these people out on the outside of the four walls are. So I feel like I didn't want to just talk about it. I wanted to be about it. So I figured that, a lot of people talk about how bad the people are in jail, which I don't agree with. Everybody that's locked up in jail aren't bad people. They just had some tough luck. They messed up when they were young, and then it just became it came a recycling situation. So I wanted to be a part of helping cut down on recidivism as it relates to people getting out of jail and going back. Because if they get out of jail after having a criminal background and then they go to try and get a job, then guess what? They can't get a job because of their criminal background, which means that they're going to go back to what they know, because they have to take care of their families, their children, their husband, their wives. So basically, I said, why don't I go inside of the jail, which I do for free? Why don't I go inside of the jail so that way they can get all of their education there, they can get certified there. So when they walk out the doors, I'm helping carry them the rest of the way. I'm going to help with job placement. We're going to help them to the best of our abilities with transportation. And basically, we're trying to change the dynamics of being homeless, because now Larry's Barber College have dormitory housing. So you know what? You no longer have to be homeless. Attend Larry's Barber College and you can live on campus, go to school, get yourself together, get you a good square meal, have somewhere to lay your head down every day, get you a great education, and it'll help you to go to the next level. So that's what made me want to go inside the jails. I go to court for the guys. I stand before the judge. I tell the judge, hey, judge, you know what? This is who I am. This is what I do. If you give them an opportunity to get out, I guarantee you that I'm going to keep up with them. So it's a revolving circle. So it's not like they get out of jail, because if they need to finish, then they can finish at one of my locations on the outside of the jail as well. Mm-hmm. And now I'm in the Illinois Department of Juvenile Justice locations. I'm the first. So I'm the first the only person inside of a Cook County, inside of a county jail. I'm ready to go in Kendall County Jail now, as soon as that's finished being approved. And I'm also in the Illinois Department of Juvenile Justice. In 2 of those locations, get ready to go in the 3rd location. I do all this for free, and I'm the first and only accredited program inside of a state facility.
See, that's phenomenal. I didn't know about the campus and the resources that you provide. What other type of social services come along with that while they're on the campus?
So basically, kind of what I mentioned earlier is the reason I developed my 501c3, right? So, mm-hmm. So again, here we are at that gift and character thing, right? So I incorporated into my curriculum the mentoring and life skills part. And one of the things that I understand is that, you have a lot of people who they didn't have 2-parent households the way that I did. You have a lot of gentlemen and women who grew up without their fathers, or, maybe mothers and fathers were drug addicts, or maybe fathers weren't present in their lives, or maybe, showed them a life that we didn't get coming up in church, or having, my father as my hero and my mother as, a subsidiary of my dad. So at the end of the day, I realized that with students coming inside of my facility, it's like, hey, they can be the best barber or stylist in the world, but if they're broken, then they can't really focus on that, right? So it caused me to incorporate into my curriculum the mentoring, the life skills. You have people that deal with mental health. I wrote the book, Suicide is Not the Answer. That's real. You have people that deal with substance abuse, especially in this day and time, man. And I understood that veterans, they need help as well. And then senior citizen homes. So we do free services every 4th Tuesday of the month. Anybody, whosoever will, let them come. We go to the senior citizen homes. We service them. And we also, before COVID, we did the stand down for the VA, for the veterans. We would do all of that stuff for free. And it's not easy, man, because when you don't have the finances rolling in order to be able to take care of that, we're pretty much working on fumes. But, it's my mission. It's what I've been ordained to do. And it's a mandate, man, and I'll never stop doing it. I'm sure that God will continue to provide the resources that we need in order to help create alternatives to violence, cut down on the recidivism, and just help people to feel better about themselves, man, and just take this thing to another level.
Well, I think you've taken it to another level already, and I think that this needs to be really widespread, because I haven't heard of any other programs in jail, just 2. Yours is number 1. And then the other one that I heard is that Pastor Bill Winston, he has a program out there in the jails, and he's been giving suits to the young men and teaching them how to apply for jobs through the Joseph Business School. And
him and I were together one day out there. Yep. So we actually talked on the same program together. Great.
Yeah, this is what it's all about. When you think about it, these are opportunities, and this is what we have to do to really salvage our culture. Right, so to speak, because we get the short end of the stick in so many ways. But people like yourself that come in and want to do these things to really promote more equity, to promote more advancement in culture and education, and just what people think about themselves is what we really need. So you have 4 locations for the Barber.
Well, actually, so, as far as the outside physical locations, I have Joliet, Illinois, 79th and Langley. You got 105th and Halsted, Peoria, Illinois. That closed for COVID, but I'm changing location, so that's getting ready to reopen. You have Cook County Jail. You have IDJJ, Warrenville. You have IDJJ, IYC Chicago. Then I got Kendall County that's going to open. I got St. Charles that's going to open, which is IDJJ. And both of those are penal institutions. Then I got another location outside of Chicagoland area that's going to open as well. So that'll be what, 10 locations maybe. Yeah.
So I know you're a man to not really want to sit down. Okay.
Hey, I don't sleep at night.
So tell me this: what's the bigger picture? What do you have in your vision that you feel like you want to really expand and expound on, that's even bigger than the locations of Larry's Barber College?
So basically, I'm licensed in over 22 states with my master license. And with that being said, I basically am setting myself up and preparing because, and this is the first time that I've said this, but, maybe we can kind of have another vibe like the Black Wall Street, if you will. I only say that to say that, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for us as a community as a whole. And if I can be the, test dummy, if you will, in order to make sure that I'm handling and I'm being a good servant of what has been put on my plate, I'm trying to do that. There's a lot of people whose destiny that's connected to mine. And, and it would be in my best interest to make sure that I stay on the straight and narrow, keep God first, of course, that's very, very important. And then just stay on the straight and narrow, man, and just continue to do what I do in order to help set people up, to be successful. I'm actually working on opening up my own credit union. So that's coming up soon because of the fact that we don't have financial institutions that support us and that understand, the dynamics of our business. So they don't loan us money, let alone being African-American. We can't get money from the traditional, lending facilities and stuff like that, man. We got to go to hard money loans. We shouldn't have to do that, man. When we, we shop at banks and stuff like that. So I'm setting those things up. So the bigger picture is to open up schools and shops all over the world, to help to plant us. And I want to be able to say, hey, you know what? I want you to be a partner in LA. I want you to be a partner in Atlanta, and just kind of set my staff up and people up to all succeed. I want us all to be up there. I don't want to be on a mountain by myself, man. I want all of us to be able to succeed. So that's my, bigger scheme of things.
Right. And you said you don't receive any money for some of these programs, especially the one that you have in the Department of Corrections, but you started a foundation to help fund the resources and things that you need. I think it's called the Data Foundation.
Yes, sir. Yep.
And tell me how it, and you might be some viewers here that may have some good rich friends, that can really pour into your, I'll say, quote unquote ministry. Right. Tell us about the Data Foundation.
So one of the things I found out, Chip, is that a lot of times when people I pay tithes and offering and all that kind of stuff because you give it to a nonprofit, but it's only so much of that you can write off, in your taxes every year, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I found out is what I do, because I have students. So my tuition is $15,558, right, for each student go to my school. I do have Title IV, so people can get online. They can download my app. They can apply for their FAFSAs to go to my school. We also have the GI Bill for the veterans who have the GI Bill, so to speak. But with data, basically, that's in order to help give scholarships. We help deal with people who are homeless. We help, feed. We help do transportation for people. And with that, if people want to donate to that, I found out that they can get 100% of their write-off if they donate to me, because of the fact that that's going towards something. So if somebody, let's just say, donate $1 million to my 501c3, then that will put roughly 76, 77 students in school. And because I'm able to give them something that says that you have just sponsored somebody to go to school, then they can get that whole entire write-off. Versus giving me $1 million and only able to get 25% of a write-off, they can get the whole entire write-off. So that's the great part about giving money to my non-for-profit. And if people are interested in doing that, they can merely go to datafoundationinc.org and they can give on there. They can text and give by texting 530-3999, and they can text and give through that way. And like, man, we would definitely appreciate it because of the fact that it needs to be ongoing. After they get out of jail, it can't stop there. We have to be able to help them the rest of the way, get out some of the communities that they're in that, you know, they were getting in trouble in, help get them transportation, whether they be bus cards, you know, help, of course, find them some place to live, help them get ID, help them get implements, tools, and equipment. We do all of that stuff, man. And we let them finish if they don't finish on the outside, on the inside of prison.
So it doesn't stop there. I understand you got some products on the market that you sell. Larry's, what is it, Bristol brushes and
well,
some
yeah.
other things.
So I got some new products that's coming up, and it's, stay tuned. It's called actually Barber Maximus. So once that stuff comes out, and I'll definitely be putting that out there. I'll have like major product stuff for your hair, you know, beard treatment, shampoos. All of these things will be coming about, you know, and I'm setting my website and my apps and stuff up so that way, you know, if people want to advertise on an app, on a website and an app, they're able to do that as far as barbershops and salons, because they're always looking for people to work in their shops and stuff like that. So I'm setting a platform where, you know, I got a reality show that's ready to come out. I got some other major stuff that's in the works that I'm excited to be able to let people know once that comes to fruition, man. So we got a lot of great stuff happening, man. A lot of great stuff happening.
So what I see you doing is that what we don't see in media is that barbers really are a powerful force too in making men look good. Okay.
Absolutely. And feel good. And feel good.
Exactly. So you got a whole clientele. I mean, outside of Pastor John, Hannah, DeAndre, Patterson, who else? Go down your list of some other people.
Hey,
Judge Mathis.
Judge Mathis, Ramsey Lewis is like a father to me. So I've been knowing Ramsey, man, for close to 30 years, and you know, cut his hair. Everybody, Gary Sheffield, Ronnie Stanley, Laramie Tunzel. You know, I was with Jared Goff. I mean, I can go down the line, man. You know, Judge Mathis, Mackay Pfeiffer, Kendall Gill is my cousin. I used to cut Kendall's hair all the time. Chris Calloway that played for the Giants back in the day. Derek Williams, man, I can go on and on, man. I've been doing this stuff since I've been a teenager, you know. Celeb, Pastor Charles Jenkins, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, I can go on and on about the people I've cut, man, but I'm very honored, you know, that they would have allowed me to do that. And that's another thing that people need to realize, man. It's more than just standing behind a chair cutting hair. You know what I'm saying? You can cut hair on movie sets, man. You can do all, and I tell people all the time, I was never ever late for a whole year. I was never ever late cutting Judge Mathis' hair. Never. Mm-hmm. I was the first person that he had to see every day. I don't care how bagged up Columbus Drive was. There was no excuse as to why I shouldn't have been on time in my spot. You know what I'm saying? So it's those are the things that I'm really trying to teach, you know, my students and people to, and just being an example, man. No matter what you're going through, no matter what you're dealing with, you know, I have an obligation, and if I don't fulfill my obligation, that means that something is going to lack on their part for something that I didn't do.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that, you know, those people who are successful are people who are time conscious. That's why I was really slapping myself when we started late today. I hate starting late, but yeah, Judge Mathis. I just saw a thing on Netflix with Debbie Allen and her dance studio, and just how strong she was in teaching young kids how to dance and how to be professional and things like that. That's something that we don't really cherish in our community. We think that it's all right to come in and be late or come in with a little swag and not really pay attention to what's going on. Success does not come easy.
Right.
You know? And so with the discipline and the practices that you give, it really helps to transform a life. Like I said, one of the things I was leading into is that, you know, you get all of the people who do females' hair, and, you know, you got Andre who is doing Oprah's hair, and Derek, is a friend of mine, he does Oprah's makeup, and this one does that woman's hair. I'm looking for the time when the barbers will become just as prominent and important to how good we make men look, or how good you make men look in your craft. And I think that you're on the path to doing that.
Absolutely. And believe it or not, man, even though, you know, that's not as notable, but man, you know, I mean, you got Will Smith's barber, you know, I'm friends with Tyler Perry's, you know, old barber, like all of these people, man. So we're responsible, believe it or not. Let's just give, for example, if Will Smith got a movie that he's doing, and if he has to shoot every day, The barber job is to make sure, like I would cut Judge Mathis' hair sometimes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But on a movie set, and if you're doing that same scene, it's the barber's job to make sure that that hair look the same exact way the next day for that scene. Otherwise, they got to wait till it grow back because they don't want it to be off by anything. So what we do, man, is very important. Like even with these man units that they have now, that's not new. It's nothing but a toupee. So believe it or not, a lot of this stuff, man, is done by men as well. You know, like Judge Mathis' picture that's on like the buses and his all of that stuff. Those are pictures that I did. Like that's the same haircut that I've done on him that he's using as it relates to, you know, like what the photographs on buses and billboards and stuff like that, man. So, you know, we are important. It's just not as notable because of the fact that it might not be somebody like a Oprah Winfrey or somebody like that who's blasted all over TV and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, hey, we got to get it done. Don't you got to get your hair cut all the time, Chip?
All the time.
So guess what? So you should be a celebrity to your barber. All of my clients are celebrities. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't just make a big eye on little you, because that client that's spending money with me every week is just as prominent as that celebrity who I might only cut once every blue moon. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's about relationship, and everything can be transactional. So I make sure that I build relationships.
Well, I have to give kudos to my barber. I'm just going to give him a shout out. He may see it and he may not, but his name is Eddie Davis over at the Hair Affair on 95th Street. He has been doing my hair since I was 12.
Now you know what's funny? Hair Affair. You talking about on 95th? And does it have steps? That is it like apartment building? And is it the family a family affair or hair affair?
It was the Hair Affair. Mr. Anderson years ago owned it.
Okay.
And he died, and his nephew owned it now. It's right on the corner, right off the corner of 95th and Calumet, but it's been there for years.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly. It's on the north side of the street.
Yep.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I grew up in that neighborhood, and I mean, Eddie has been doing my hair since I was a teenager.
Wow.
So it's hard for me to let it go. Now, I want to get into a little bit more of a side of your life. Suicide is not the answer.
Yes, sir.
We have heard that during this whole COVID-19 experience, that even in my position here at Chicago Public Schools, many of our students are having a hard time dealing with their studies, dealing with themselves, dealing with family, and this COVID situation, with them not having been able to reach each other, touch each other, communicate with each other outside of being in front of a computer like we are now, has really increased the percentages of our suicide attempts and to some successful suicides. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that, you know, people, if they're honest with themselves, some people have probably thought about suicide at one time or another, even if it was just a fleeting moment. But sometimes it's not a fleeting moment. It's a serious moment for some people. You wrote a book about this because at one point you had contemplated suicide. And this book talks about your journey of how you overcame some of the obstacles that you went through, the child molestation, the failed marriages and things like that. Sometimes you had to go that route. And I say that because many people know my story already. I'm delivered and finished. I'm done with it. But I was a crack addict at one time in my life and fell flat on my face, where I had to go to rehab, and I lived in a halfway house for a year and a half. But that was an experience that I needed to take me all the way down to nothing, so that I could be built up into something through God's grace. And that is what I understand that your story is about. Tell us about suicide is not the answer.
Well, basically, man, you know, I think that every time something kind of transpired with me, the first thing I would think about is that I don't want to live anymore. I don't want to live anymore. And that's why I titled my book. People couldn't understand why I titled my book Suicide is Not the Answer, but that's the reason why. But it stemmed from somewhere. Like you said, getting molested as a baby, you know, not really understanding that, because it kind of, you know, sent me off somewhere, you know, that I probably shouldn't have been, you know, a womanizer, so to speak. Along with that, you know, just pretty much, I think part of my story is coming up in church and kind of feeling like you had to live this perfect life, right? So I lived this life where, you know, hey, they said, you know, you can't drink, you're going to hell. Don't smoke, you're going to hell. Don't go to the show, you're going to hell. Everything was, if you do this, you're going to hell, right? So I was always prophesied to as a youngster that I would be a successful businessman. And I felt like that the only way I would be able to be successful is if I didn't do all of the things that they taught me not to do. So when I became an adult, I held on to that stuff. So never drinking, never smoking, never using drugs, never selling drugs, never gang banging, never doing none of these things, because I wanted to be this successful individual. But then I get older and I become an adult and I have my own business. And it appeared as if the drug dealers and the gang bangers and all the people that was doing all the stuff they told me not to do, it appeared as if they were doing better than I was doing. And I didn't understand that. You know, at one point I thought God hated me, man. You know, I mean, I'm like, man, I pay my tithes, I pay my offering. I'm always at church. I do everything I'm supposed to do. I'm a good man. I wasn't in jail. I wasn't doing none of that type of stuff. But for some reason, I couldn't find my way. Man, that's why I wrote in my book that you have to go through in order to get to, and how you deal with what you go through determines how you come out. And basically what that means is that, you know, God had, to whom much is given, much is required. And I just wasn't ready at the time to obtain, you know, what it is that God had for me. So therefore I had to go through those things, but I just didn't understand it. So I fulfill all my obligations every single day. I never missed a beat. I always dressed up well. I always smelled good. I always, you know, drove a nice car and went to work and work all day, make sure everybody else and everything else was taken care of. But then I would come back home and be balled up, you know, like a baby in darkness, because I was depressed and I didn't understand. And I would call people and tell them, hey, you know, I need your help. And people like, oh, Larry, you good, man. Or people like, hey, man, just pray about it. You'll be okay. But I told them, no, this is serious. But people didn't understand. So it took me 10 years to write that book. And I come to find out is that I really didn't understand. I didn't understand why suicide wasn't the answer until I actually dealt with suicide, actually in my third marriage, because I felt like, God, like, what is it that I'm doing wrong? But one of the things I did is it's okay to go and get help. Go to counseling. It's okay. I went to counseling and they helped me to revisit. Okay, come on, let's go back in your life. Let's see what's going on. I had to forgive the person that molested me. I had to, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I didn't think anything about it, but I had to let that go in my spirit in order to be able to go forward, because I had to, you know, pretty much say, hey, this is what happened, but I'm burying that. I'm destroying that, you know, no. And it caused me also not to be judgmental to people who might have went through the same thing, but they might have went another direction. I went this direction, but you know, me not knowing or somebody else not knowing, they prejudged them all, man, you know, they this or they that, but you don't know their life and their stories that they went through. So at the end of the day, you know, with suicide, it's like, you know, when people think about suicide, think about it. People, if you're not really, really like physically mental and dealing with suicide, basically it's just a cry for help. It's because nobody wants to off themselves. Nobody want to, you know, blow their brains out or slit their wrist or go jump off a bridge. Nobody really want to do that. You know, thinking about, man, I'm just going to kill myself early, or, you know, I'm going to hurt myself and taking a chance. Nobody wants to do that. But the fact of the matter is that I know I played my funeral in my mind. You know, I imagine people saying, oh, my God, I wish I would have helped him. I should have helped him, this, that, and the other. And that was me saying, now they wish they would have helped me, but they didn't. So now, you know, I'm deceased. You know, I committed suicide. So now what are they going to do? But I would have been hurting anybody except for myself, man. So at the end of the day, I said, you know what? I cancel all of that, man. The devil is a lie. Suicide is not the answer. And I want to be able to write and tell somebody else. I can't help what somebody did to me as a baby. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? I want to be able to tell my story. And I've been all over. You know, I've been in Noel Jones Church telling my story, Freddie Haynes, here in Chicago and a lot of other different places. And I'm going to always use my platform to tell a story, because believe it or not, there are some 40, 50, 60-year-old men that came up to me crying, saying, young man, thank you for your story. The same thing happened to me. I've never told anybody. And they got their healing, deliverance, and they were set free right there on the spot. I had women inbox me saying that, hey, man, you know, my mom's husband used to have sex with me, you know, and I didn't know what to do about it. But thank you for telling your story. I just got delivered. I've had women say, hey, my mom's brother used to have sex with me. I read your book. You know what? I'm going to tell my mother right now, this is what happened to me. I'm talking about grown women, grown men, man. So basically, suicide is not the answer, man. It's definitely not the answer. And we put on these fronts. You know, you got young people, man, that it happened through, you know, with all the time. You got these young people who they on social media and they putting on this front like everything is so, you know, hee hee ha ha. But then when they get off, they pulling their wigs off and pulling the fake nails off, but they trying to keep up with Bobo and Susie. And then they get forced into feeling like they're not worthy and they end up committing suicide. You know what I'm saying? So we have to talk about these things. We have to go and get help. We have to go. You're not crazy if you go and sit down with a counselor, somebody to help mediate, you know, what's going on in your life and help you get to the next level, man. So, you know, suicide is definitely not the answer, man. I've been married 3 times. Is it because I'm a bad guy? No, but it's because of the fact that you come up in church, you want to do the right thing. You want to marry the person that they feel like is cute for you. And, you know, you're equally yoked and, you know, she sing and you play and it ain't about that, man. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to go to marriage counseling. We don't want to do a lot of these things, man. So, you know, feeling like my business has failed, but guess what? I had to take accountability. You don't go and buy a BMW and you can only afford a Grand Am. And then when Repo Man come, you want to blame God. No, it's your fault. You knew you couldn't afford the BMW. You shouldn't have bought it. That's why the Repo Man came. So we have to also take accountability too, Skip.
What do you think? What do you think the church needs to do more of to really help us here? Because you know, unfortunately, a lot of these things happen while we're in church. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
What's different now, Chip, is the fact that, you know, church is not like it used to be. It's unfortunate. You know, we used to have to get saved every Friday night, man. We used to be on the altar, save me, Lord, save me, Lord, save me, Lord. And then when they would get done working with me, you know, I'll go sit off on the side, like, okay, I'm saved. They'd be like, "Little Larry, what you doing sitting down?" I'm like, "I'm saved." "No, you're not. Get back up here." So you have to stand up there until they feel like you got something. You know what I'm saying? So what I learned how to do, I'll be saying, "Save me, Lord, save me, Lord," with my eyes kind of halfway open. And then I'll see if somebody was looking, and I gather a whole bunch of spit in my mouth and put spit on my cheeks, man. So then I'll let one of the mothers or the evangelists see me, like, okay, he crying, he must got it, you know. And then I say, "Look, I'm saved now." So then I end up, you know, being able to sit down, man. But then next Friday, they be like, come up here, y'all young people, come up here and get saved. I'm like, I got saved last week. No, get up here. My grandmother, Reverend Days, make me get back up there. I'm like, oh my God. But church is different now because, see, we had to go to church back in the day. But now the children and youth, they have choices, man. They can watch anything on TV. You know, we used to hope and pray that my parents left that key in that on TV box, man. Or we used to hope and pray that somewhere another of them squiggly lines on the cable box would just would unfreeze for like 5 seconds. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
Those are the things we did, man. So it's different nowadays. So what does the church have to do? You know, the church have to be more transparent, and the pastors and the preachers and the people in leadership position need to stop acting like they're perfect and like they have it all together. And they need to be able to say the same things. You know, back in the day, if a little girl, if a young lady got pregnant, they'd stand them up in front of the church and make her apologize. But you don't know how bad you hurt that young lady, because as soon as she became of age, she leave, don't come back. She end up being a drug addict, having more kids, being alcoholics, and the whole 9 yards. But the only difference between that young lady and that mother that's sitting on the front seat is the mother didn't get caught, but the young lady got caught. So stop doing people like that. So nowadays, what needs to happen as it relates to church is that they need to be more transparent, man, and they need to do things decently and in order, and they need to share with the youth. You know, I had a talk with my parents when I was maybe about 15, 16 years ago, and there was some resent in my heart of my parents because I felt like my parents didn't understand, right? So at the end of the day, they feel like, well, what do we do, Larry? What do we do? And I think that they finally got it. And what they had to admit to me and say was that, Larry, you know what? We sorry. We just didn't know. You know what I'm saying? They was trying to protect us from the world when, you know, basically don't say I can't go to college because it's a sin. Just say you don't want me to go to college and be free and be on my own and, you know, get all the, you know, the women I want, you know what I'm saying, and get all the drugs and drinking. I would rather you teach me that way versus me want to ask you about sex and you say, don't question me. Or you can't go to the show because you can't sit in the seat of the scornful. What do you mean sitting in the seat of the scornful? If that's the case, sitting at a restaurant, going to Wisconsin, going to the duck shows. You know what I'm saying? So, man, it's just nowadays people are more transparent now. And, man, people are just kind of all over the place. So there's I appreciate how I came up. But then, you know, I'm able to, you know, I did it differently with my daughter. She still have the morals and values, but I wasn't that strict. And I made sure we talked about everything, man. It wasn't nothing left off the table.
You know, this is really good because our parents, they often look for resources. They look for things that they can do to help their children, but sometimes they don't know how to communicate with them. And so the child is left to its own devices. So this is really great for our parents to even hear how to support their children through all of this. So you got locked up in jail feeling and everything, but look where you've come from. Look where you've come from. How did your parents, how did they feel when they saw you getting ready to go to another level from where you came from?
You know what, my parents, I would say those are my biggest support systems. My parents are so proud of me, man. They're really proud of me. You know, every time something used to go wrong, my mom was like, Larry, well, that's because you need to get saved. You need to be saved. And one day I had to tell my mom, look, Mom, you know what I'm saying? I am saved. You know, first of all, being saved is just confessing with your mouth that Jesus died for your sins. That's the first thing. But secondly, I'm like, you guys raised me well. So you don't have to worry about me being out here doing anything I have business doing. You know, because I have a headache don't mean I need to be saved, Mom. Because things are going wrong don't mean I need to be saved. I had to go through these things in order for me to get here. So that way I would know how to handle it. Again, to whom much is given, much is required. So they are my biggest support systems, man. I enjoy making them proud. But my biggest thing is that, you know, like my dad, of course, he's a man before anything. He's retired, but of course, he's still doing stuff, you know, that he want to do. But my mission is to make sure that my parents don't want for anything, man. So I work now in order to make sure that anything they need, I got them, because that's what they did for me, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I am with it. They're my biggest support systems, period.
Now, Larry, did you say you have some type of inroads into Chicago public schools? Are you trying to work with the high schools, or do you work with some of our high school students that maybe come to the college or anything like that?
So I do work with the high school students. I also work with Truman College. I don't know if you know Dr. Jackson up at Truman. Yeah. I'm actually an adjunct and I'm a consultant for Truman College. So we helped them merge a barber school into the cosmetology school up there as well. So I'm very active up there, along with, especially before COVID, but now we just more like Zoom and visuals or whatever. So I'm helping them build that out. But then I'm actually going to put a barber school inside of Dunbar's high school. I have a school going inside of there, the one on King Drive, and that's pretty exciting, you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like a thin line legally as it relates to the high schools and colleges and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, you know, we have a recruiter. His name is Mr. Lloyd McWhorter, and he's our recruiter for Larry's Barber Colleges. So his job basically is to, you know, fill up the schools for every month, and when school, you know, classes and stuff like that start, you know, and so he kind of go, you know, to the schools to the best of his ability right now, considering that COVID is going on. And, you know, we try and get the students from high school, because a lot of people now, man, they're not going to college, you know, so, you know, he basically trying to get them in, you know, where they can kind of do hands-on. So if we can get them to fill out their FAFSAs as seniors, or kind of do some type of vocational program, you know, when they're 16 years old, then we try and go that route as well. And then if we do a vocational program, then that's where data will be able to pay for them to go to school. So that's why we kind of need money on data as well, to pay for them to go to school, you know, when they can't apply for financial aid, because they have to have a GED or high school diploma in order to apply for financial aid.
Now, in your curriculum, when you're doing your training in school and things like that, you know, of course, barbers have to train and they have to go out and they have to get a job. Do you show them how to go out and research shops that they really want to be at or should be at? Because, you know, everybody shouldn't be in just anywhere, right? So do you kind of guide them as to what to look for when looking for a shop or a chair to rent? And then after that, do you take them through maybe a course of business a language in terms of looking at how they can open up their own facility and start their own business?
So part of my curriculum shift, because of the fact that I started out so young, even running my dad's restaurants as a teenager and having my own business so young, and I've always been a proactive one. Like, I always do stuff prematurely. Like, you know, I hate to admit this, but at one point, you know, like, man, I want to be like Donald Trump, man. But that was about 100 years ago. You know what I'm saying? When we thought that he was end all be all before the, you know, Warren Buffett's. And so nevertheless, I don't even say his name no more. Lord, forgive me for saying his name. But but at the end of the day, that's a part of my curriculum, right? So what we do is we pretty much, you know, we teach how to write resumes. We teach how to do business plans. And because of who I am and what I do, I make sure that it's a mandate that we teach them how you can be your own corporation. If it's just one person, you know, like during COVID, if they would have had a corporation and if they would have been paying themselves, you know, at the end of the day, then they could have filed for unemployment through their corporation because they would have been paying themselves, getting taxes and stuff taken out and getting Social Security. So basically, I teach them how to set themselves up so that when they done cutting hair, then they can retire, man. They can get Social Security. They have a pension. They got 401k. They got all of these things going on because they set themselves up prematurely. So nevertheless, yes, I do. I teach them all of those things, man, because I want them to focus on succeeding, not being the best barber, but succeeding and all of the other stuff that come along with it.
So I got some feeds coming in, and people are really interested in knowing some more of the information for the school. I just created a banner. Actually, one of your team members probably did it.
That's my financial aid director, Miss Marnice Osborne. She's
okay.
Yep. She's my financial aid director. So she's the one who, do the financial aid and, do all of that stuff, the GI Bill. She handled people moving into the dormitory housing and all of that stuff. So if they're interested, they can call that number, or they can download our Larry's Barber College app, which is so dope. It's amazing too. They can download the app and they can click on there, and then they can fill out their FAFSAs. And we have kind of like a stream as to what it takes in order to get that. And then what will happen is Mr. Lloyd McWater would then get their information, and then he will call them and schedule for them to come in. You only have to put $100 down to come in. Financial aid will pay for and take care of the rest. And if you're interested in dormitory housing, we only have a few spots left, man. So you got to get in there. And my dorms, man, they are fully furnished. I fully furnished them. I mean, they got stoves, they got air fryer, microwaves, they got utensils, forks, spoons, cups, plates. Only thing they got to do, man, is get some groceries and cook. That's all they got to do.
And I'm sure with your vision and the visionary that you are, they'll pretty soon have their own cook.
Oh yeah. They'll have their own cook. Yeah, like my daughter, she's a certified, celebrity chef. So, maybe I can have her cook sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
So give your team members a shout out. Who do you have working with you?
Man, okay, so we have, of course, me, myself as the CEO. Then we have my COO, which is Mr. Adam Farmer. He's amazing, man. Like he's a part of everything that I've always been trying to put together. So Mr. Adam Farmer. Then we have Miss Marnice Osborne, which is our financial aid director. But she's I lovingly say she's my everything. I mean, anything I need done, she's going to do it. She going to serve food. She going to drive the bus. She going to do it all. Miss Cassandra Harris, she's our district manager over all of the locations. Then we have Mama Lewis, as we affectionately call her. She's my partner, Corey, out in Joliet, Corey Lewis. So that's my partner. And that's his mom. So she worked with us, my buddy, Corey Lewis. And then we have all of our instructors. I'll be to miss somebody's name if I tried to say the instructors, but we have those. And who do we have? I mean, we have a big staff, man. We have over 20 something people on our staff, and I have a day reporting center too, Chip. So my day reporting center, so I have a mandated program that I have a grant with the state where they mandate youth to me. So my job, I have one of those in Peoria. And basically, I have like a van out there, and I have staff out there, and our job is we have to help them find jobs. They get free GED training. We do mental health with them. We do all of these things. We feed them. We give them COVID kits and all of that kind of stuff to make sure they're good. We go and pick them up every day. We drop them off every day. We have a center that they go to, and we pretty much help them find jobs. We just help them, man, to become better people, man. If they want to go to barber school out there in Peoria, then they can go to barber school. So we got it wide open for them, man. So I'm trying to do everything I can, man. But, running on fumes and not really having the money you need, what I'm saying? It can be difficult. But again, God got us, man. So yeah, we good.
Yeah, that's why you're so successful, because you always got the next thing. And keep on going.
I like that.
So, people may not notice about you, but you also grew up in a musical household. And you also play keyboards, and you play drums and some other things. You worked with some very amazing talent. Talk about your musical side. What are you doing? Anything musical? Do you have time to do anything musical?
That's my life. I do music full time, man. That's my life, man. Of course, I got it from my dad. I was just telling somebody earlier, man, my dad played for some of the greats, James Cleveland, Albertina Walker, O'Neal twins, Livonia Whitley, and them, Father Hayes, Timothy Wright, Douglas Miller, and he wrote some of the great songs. I Love Jesus, Are You Ready? I'll Fly Away. He was part of the, writing for Albertina. So Please Be Patient With Me. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I kind of followed in his footsteps. So I play drums, I play keyboards pretty much equally. I'm a songwriter. So I played the longest with Ricky Dillard for like 13, 14 years. I have songs on his records. I played drums for him for years. And I pretty much traveled the world, man, playing for, a lot of other people. I've had the opportunity to play, for either coming in town or going out of town, man. So, I love it. It's my life, man. I'll never give it up. Haircutting, like business and music is hand in hand for me, and music pretty much helps me to kind of find my balance, man, because I just love to do it, That's it. So I love it.
So what kind of advice would you give to parents who are looking for career choices for their children?
Well, I would say to parents that don't minimize or belittle the hair care industry, because at the end of the day, they need the same services that they're belittling or they're minimizing. So at the end of the day, allow your child to come to Larry's Barber College because we're the barber school that and who will make sure that it's not just about cutting hair, but it's about pretty much, teaching them, mentoring them, life skills. We have, youth that come, man, and they're torn. We have people that come to school who are, you're wondering why they're late every day, or you wonder why they have certain issues. Well, they're homeless, you know what I'm saying? So we've resolved that issue, by having dormitory housing. So there's so many things that come along with it, man. And I believe that if parents send children our way, and not just the youth, we have adults, man, who, in their 40s and 50s, came to start barber school and cosmetology school. It's pretty much all in the same, because the only difference between barbering and cosmetology is that a barber can use a razor, a cosmetologist can't. So I advise, women who already know how to do hair, instead of going to cosmetology school, come to barber school, because then they end up going to cosmetology school, graduating, but then wanting to know how to cut men's hair, and end up having to come into barber school to cut men's hair, versus coming to barber school and you get it all, but you get more hands-on cutting men's hair, but you get to do women's hair as well. And then you got one up on the cosmetologist, that you get to use a razor, and the cosmetologist can't legally use a razor to shave and do razor liners and all of that kind of stuff, man. So basically, man, send your youth our way, whether they a senior in high school or, vocational program, they can pay out of pocket, or somebody who's an adult and feel like they want to do a career change, man, you can make 6 figures in this industry. The oldest, so she just said the oldest student was 62 and she's still cutting. Absolutely. So, man, it's room for everybody.
It also says that it's a multi-million-dollar industry.
Yes, absolutely. It's a $300 billion industry. So it's on point.
So I know you may not want to divulge a lot about this, but I did hear that you have something coming up with an upcoming partnership with one of the world's largest global retailers.
Absolutely. And so we have to be a little secretive about that. But
right.
The flip side of it is that I'm excited that I will be having a business later, like early part of next year, in a major chain retail store. We're excited about that, and it's going to be a great opportunity, Chip, in order for us to pretty much, set our students up and have them working in a different environment, but with some professionalism. So we want to be able to show people that even though we're tonsorial artists, barbers, that we can still be professional. And like I'm interviewing right now from my media room, right? So like I'm a barber school, like I'm the first at a whole lot of stuff, right? So I have a media room, man, where we have cameras, we have devices, we have televisions, we have everything we need, man, in order to be able to just create and stay in tune and stay abreast of everything that's going on. So that way time won't leave us behind. You know what I'm saying? We stand on top of everything that we need to do. So, whatever it is you want, we got it. That's the slang way. We got it. We got it.
The next thing.
The next thing, absolutely.
Well, let me ask you this, Larry. What would you leave as you've just become a positive role model to so many? What lasting words would you want to leave to our young people as they contemplate on their next role in life and what they want to do? I mean, there's so many things out here. What kind of advice do you want to give our young people today?
So, I think I can sum it up in just a few mission statements or a few affirmations, basically. And those affirmations would be, something that I always say. And I always say, we got to be careful that we don't allow our gift to take us someplace that our character can't handle. What does that mean? Basically, don't be good at something, very, very good at something, but because you aren't mature enough, that's your character, because you're not mature enough, you can't handle what you're very good at because you're immature in being able to handle that, right? And also, understand that, I did this, I was on a panel with a bunch of superintendents and people from the city colleges, and I have gave this saying about pizza, right? So if you warm pizza up in a microwave the next day, you put it in the microwave, the bread is gonna be soggy, the cheese is gonna be sticking to the plate like unusually, and it's just not gonna taste good, right? But see, a lot of us want the microwave day age, but I'm from the school where you preheat that oven and you get that oven where it needs to be, and you get some aluminum foil or a pan and put that pizza in there. And when you pull a pizza out the second day out of the oven, then you got that the same vibe almost that you had from the day before. But we want stuff so quick. So I said all that to say that you have to go through in order to get to, but how you deal with what you go through determines how you come out. So in that period of going through, it don't mean that you should stop or give up or be mean or just change your posture. Keep doing what you're doing, because you have to go through that. Where do diamonds come from? It comes from coal being pressed. Where do oil come from? It comes from that olive being crushed. Where do wine come from? It comes from the grapes being crushed and smashed and all that kind of stuff. So who are we? We aren't exempt, but we don't want to go through anything. We want stuff right away, and it just don't happen like that, man. That's part of why I dealt with suicide and all that kind of stuff. But until I understood, and we have to be willing to talk to people, let people know what's going on, and hurt people, right? So I would say those things, man, and we just got to be careful that we don't allow anything to interrupt our peace. What does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Hey, I might not be a drinker. I might not be a blunt smoker. But at the end of the day, if you're an adult and you choose to do adult things, do things decently and do them in order, not in your car and doing this while the police looking out his car down at you. And then when they pull you over, then, you say, man, you always mess with me. No, you should have waited till you got home to do that, if that's the case. Right. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that we do that we allow people to interrupt our peace. But I would say, don't let nobody interrupt your peace. Soar high. You're an eagle. Don't hang with chickens. And you got this, man. Mm-hmm. We good.
That is good. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking with Larry Roberts Jr., and this has been a real eye-opening conversation. This is part of the face-to-face virtual classrooms and workshop sessions. This is what I call the dorm room, where we just have very intimate conversations with people who are making a difference in the lives of many. So, Larry, I just want to thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you for having me, Chip. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
I appreciate all of the viewers that have been part of our stream, and they've been giving you shout-outs all the way. You can see this on Facebook and on YouTube. I want you all to make sure that you tune in next year. This is our last production of Dorm Room this year, but next year we'll open up with Dr. Eric Pruitt. We'll talk about the high school strategy that we are getting ready to roll out in Chicago Public Schools, and what's going to be good for your children as they get ready for their post-secondary and college and career opportunities. Maybe one day they'll be a barber.
That's right. Exactly. A Tom artist. Let's get that right now. A Tom artist.
Right. Now, before we go, give them that information again as to where they can. I'm gonna put the number back on the screen as to where they can go to get information for the school. But you said you got the app, and yes, you got the email address.
Yes, sir. So we actually
asked my niece if she could put that in the chat, and I'll put it on the screen so we can see that.
Yes, sir. So basically, they'll be emailing. Well, if they go to the website or the app, they basically can click on the information there, and our back end will get it. So Mr. Lloyd McWhorter, he'll get the information along with, if they, if they're interested in being instructors, for Larry's Barber Colleges, then they can email hr@larrysbarbercollege.com. Mr. Adam Farmer will get that information, and so will the rest of our staff. Marnice and Cassandra will get that information. But also, so that's if you want to go to barber school. But if people, would be so kind, if you would like to give donations at any time, you can go to datafoundationinc.org, and you can go there to give a donation. Or if you would like to give a safe, secure donation by text, you can text 773-530-3999. and you can text and give. There's no amount that's too small, and there's no amount that's too big. If you would like to mail us something, you can mail it to 10456 South Halsted Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60628. And you're more than welcome to, mail and give whatever. We are a 501c3. Data Foundation is. We are 501c3. And again, like I said, if somebody wants to, if they need to write off for the rest of the year, they want to give us that $1 million or $5 million or $10 million, man, send it on in. And I guarantee you they'll be able to get the full write-off because of the fact that we have somewhere to implement that money for the students who can't afford to go to school. We can pay their way through school and they'll be fine. And I really thank you for allowing me to have this platform on today. This was an amazing interview, and man, I look forward to maybe coming back on one day, and
we
man. Absolutely.
have you back on, and then I want to be able to showcase some of your work that you've done. Maybe even come and get some live shots of you in session with your instructors teaching, and of course you being the master instructor. I'm sure you got a whole lot of professional development that you do with your staff. So
absolutely,
it's amazing.
Stay tuned for our reality show. We're doing a documentary as well for the guys, once in jail, but out of jail. And then we're doing, I have a reality show, Barber Shop. So it's Larry's Barber College, kind of around that. So we got some pretty exciting things happening. So stay tuned, Chip.
Yeah, I definitely will. And I want everybody else to stay tuned. Thank you for being a part of our session here with Face to Face Dorm Room. We are really excited about what we're doing. As again, I said, we're going to have Eric Pruitt on from our Office of Network Support talking about the high school strategy next year. And we come in on Tuesdays at 4:30. It's an exciting time. I'm going to say goodbye to our guest, Larry. Great again to have you. And everybody, have a happy holiday. Remember to stay safe out here. Don't take things for granted. Keep your spirits up, keep your head up, and knowing that we will get through this together. On behalf of Face to Face and the Dorm Room, this is Chip Johnson, Larry Roberts.
Peace.
You all have a great holiday. Thanks for tuning in.
You as well. Thank you.